What's going on, guys? Thank y'all for being here. Got a different guest today. Normally it's William. Today I got Romeo.
Hello.
Well, well Trump's supposed to come out around 4:30. He's late all the time, so we'll just wait a little longer for him. So, what do you think they're going to talk about here?
You know, it seems to make sense that we might get some type of George W. warning. You've got such and such amount of time to get out of Dodge, or we're going to come in and get you, like dead or alive type thing. That would be my best guess because Trump isn't going to give any, how can I say it? He's not going to give any advantage with foreknowledge of an attack. He's just not dumb. So that's what I think.
Well, there's already been some foreknowledge of attack anyway by shutting down airspace, by shutting down, confiscating boats, blowing up boats. Some's going to happen, obviously. But what's going to happen? We just don't know. Is it going to be bombings? Is it going to be sending troops in? We don't know. And I have a feeling he's not going to tell them that, hey, we're going to start sending troops in on next week at 5 o'clock. He ain't gonna tell them that. More likely, he's just gonna be giving warnings out, like you said, like, hey, sometime next month, after the new year, your time is up.
Yeah, Trump's been really subtle up until now. Only taking oil tankers and closing down the airs. It's all been subtle.
Now, the other thing he also might be doing is deciding to actually close all the boat traffic in that area as well. That might be what he might be announcing as well. Who knows? I wonder if the mainstream media is going to shut down all their shows so they could actually do this. We'll see, because last time they did that, they thought he was going to do an announcement on that. Instead, he just talked about all the accomplishments they made and for 22 minutes, 21 minutes, something like that. And that's 22 minutes. They couldn't do an ad.
Right. I think today is going to be a little different. You know what I mean? I think he got away with that once, and I think he'd be fine if like a couple of the major networks didn't show, because as soon as if the message is what we anticipate it's going to be, everyone is going to cover this. So yeah. it'd be like a way to double dip on them, on the mainstream media.
Well, the only reason I wouldn't mind him doing it because it makes me laugh.
Oh, for sure.
Hurts their bottom line because they're like this. We couldn't advertise for 22 minutes. We thought we were going to war.
Right. Hey, and maybe they won't show today, so they'll get hit twice.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. The thing is, people are going to be interested in what he has to say, and they're not going to if they decide not to show up because they think it's another, bluff or another like, my hand's doing something over here and I'm doing something. It's a distraction, It's just, I don't know.
We know that Trump is definitely taking back all our resources that were lost, so everyone has a little bit of understanding. American companies spent billions of dollars putting in land and water-based oil rigs, setting Venezuela up to go ahead and gather these natural resources, the oil. Okay, and then the communists took power before we could get paid back anything of our investment, not to mention a profit, which is the whole reason you do it. They kicked us out, decades ago, and we're right now, Trump is saying, you know what, we're going to go ahead and take our property back. Yeah. I like that.
I also think this is also a distraction for the Epstein files. Stop paying attention to that. Pay attention to what's going on over here. I think it's that as well. He needs something to distract people from that because the media is all over top of that right now. And, we'll talk about that later. But the whole thing, Pam Bondi getting maybe impeached or maybe even, I think the other thing they're talking about is me look at this article. Contempt, inherent contempt, which means all that would happen is they would just fine her until they would fine the DOJ until they actually release all the documents.
Yeah, I read Thomas Massey's order yesterday, and it gives permission to redact information in every area that you would suspect that you would have to do it. So this is going to be, I mean, I'm just reading it. This is going to be a legal.
Well, it does do that. You're right, it does, but you have to give the reason, right? And that's the problem. They're not given the reason on the redactions. Like if the reason you redacted this name because it's someone that was abused, okay, understandable. The reason you're redacting this because this might be national security, get you, okay. None of that's on there. So it does, so it's like this, okay, what the Democrats are doing and these streamers online, they're like this. I'm assuming every name has to do with Donald Trump now. That's what they're doing.
Right.
Because
I think very little does have to do with him.
Well, the thing is, if you don't give any reference of what it has to do with, of why you're redacting, whether it be national security or a victim's name, so on and so forth, that's what they're going to do. They're just going to run with it, and people need context. Not only that, you have one section of it's 119 pages. The whole thing's redacted.
Yeah. But I mean, when I tried to pull it up because it's like one paragraph, and it basically gives them total leeway on what to redact.
Yeah, I read it. But the thing is, even if it gives leeway, it's still you have to give the reason. Right?
Yes. In fact, I got it up here. Let me find this paragraph. It's really short, and I'll read it. This is the same one as yes. Okay, that's all the people who voted on it. Nope, it's this one. There's two of them.
All the people that voted on it. It was everybody but one.
Yeah, they literally listed every name.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm not going to be able to find it live right now. I'm sorry.
But thank y'all for being here. Appreciate you. We're still waiting for them to show up. So while we're waiting, we'll go ahead and just keep on talking. But the other thing also, I guess they captured that third boat, our third oil rig. We did a video on our other channel if you want to go check it out, American Patriot News. I'm sorry, American Patriots. Go check it out. But they captured that one. They also that one was going to, I believe, or it's connected to actually Iran. I don't think it's going to Iran itself because Iran has oil itself. They don't need any. It was probably what they did was decide to use an Iranian oil tanker to send oil to somewhere else, probably China or something. And it's one of those tankers that's on that list, and they're like, nope,
right,
got it.
Hey, I've got it for you. So I'll just read these two little paragraphs. This resolution provides a special rule for consideration of H.R. 185 and amends that bill to direct the Department of Justice to make publicly available records related to Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Under H.R. 185 as amended by the resolution, the DOJ must publicly disclose all classified records, documents, communication, and investigative materials in its possession that relate to Epstein or Maxwell. The records include unclassified reports referring or relating to Epstein's detention and death, flight logs of aircraft used or owned by Epstein, individuals named in connection with Epstein's criminal activities, civil settlements or immunity plea agreements, immunity deals, sealed settlements. There's a bunch of other stuff, right? So they want it all. However, under the amended bill, DOJ may withhold or redact portions of records with written justification that such portions contain victims' personally identifiable information, child essay material, images of death, physical abuse, or injury, information which would jeopardize an active federal investigation or prosecution. That's a big one. Classified information, DOJ may not withhold or redact records on the basis of embarrassment, reputational harm, or political sensitivity. Further, within 15 days of completing the required disclosures, DOJ must provide Congress with a report listing all categories of records released and withheld, all redactions made and their legal basis, and all government officials and politically exposed persons named or referenced in the materials. So, if there is the will to place some type of a legal,
Well,
rope-a-dope, they could stretch this out, but I don't see how that would help the situation at all.
what it does is keeps it in the news, which Trump doesn't want it to.
Right.
That's why I don't understand why they're taking so long to do it. Just,
release it already.
Yeah,
Be
exactly.
done with it.
Yeah, be done.
There's bigger things going on.
Yeah, exactly. But it's hard to figure them out sometimes. But especially Pam Bondi, I just don't trust her. That's just my feeling on her. But
well, I mean, the thing that is really weird now is, we're almost a year in, and we're still waiting for people to be charged with crimes, and that's the reason everyone is stressed out and negative with her. Now, in fairness, it would take about this long if you had to start a case from kind of scratch, which I imagine the last Department of Justice made sure that they would have to start from scratch, made things as difficult as they possibly could. But
I don't know. I don't know what to think about it because, I'm like this. Look, what happened with Letitia James and James Comey? I'm amazed that they fucked that up as bad as they did. I'm just amazed,
right.
And I thought both of them seemed to be a slam dunk, and they pretty much look like to me when it comes to Adam Schiff and Swalwell, they have given up on that because it looked like to me they were going to actually go after Gallego too, the senator from Arizona, because he has a house, $1.2 million he spent on a house in D.C., which she said was his primary residence.
Right, and he just got into Congress, so
yeah. No. He was in the House, and then he went into the Senate.
Oh, okay. So he's been getting, because that's what didn't make sense to me. Now it makes sense. He's been getting his hands on some of that congressional money they all seem to fall over.
Actually, his money is inherited from his dad. If you have you heard what Carrie Lake said about his dad?
No, what'd she say?
He's a cartel member.
I just want to see. I just want to see people that are guilty of crimes. Let me just do a little list: Brennan, Comey, Clapper, McCabe, Rosenstein, Hillary Rodham Clinton. Help me out, Matt. What names are coming to your mind?
Obama.
Yes. How could I forget him?
Yeah. I think Obama's going to be the hardest one, obviously. But any crimes that might have been happened after he got out of office, Joe Biden. Man, I'm losing names too. I'm sure there's plenty.
It's just because
Peter Strzok.
Yeah.
Also, some of those guys that were part of Biden's administration, like Christopher Wray.
Yes, and
Merrick
Garland. Yep.
And then the DHS secretary.
I can't shut down. We can't do any better on the border, and it's like Trump comes in, and it's Yes, you can do better on the border. You got to actually do your job, which they weren't doing. Yeah,
I
I
mean,
want all those
Mayorkas
people.
is a senator, not senator, Secretary Mayorkas. Is that his name?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep, him too. I mean, there's just like so many people who screwed the American people over. They look at you bring 30 million people in, and here's where I'm getting that number. We've interviewed J.J. Carroll multiple times. He says it's between 30 and 50. Okay, that came in under Joe's watch. So let's go with the low number. Well, even if you just give all those people health care, you're going to bankrupt the system, and they're giving them lodging and cradle to grave service like food, clothes, everything they need. But when I say they're giving it to them, they're really not giving it to them. You're giving it to them. I'm giving it to them. Matt's giving it to them. We're paying for this. And, you know, I live in between Chicago and Milwaukee, right? So I get both local newses. And I can tell you what, the people who've been promised for 6, 7 decades that they were going to get some help in the inner cities, they are offended. Like, to say they're offended at the next level would be to really downplay it. They're angry. They got people from all over the world living next to them who aren't paying rent. They aren't paying for food. They're getting a stipend every month, basically. When Joe was in, you know, thousands of dollars on these debit cards we've all heard about. And these poor people in the inner city can't get any help. And so there's a lot of animosity.
That also doesn't include our veterans. You know, that are homeless that should be getting help from American people, and unfortunately, instead of giving it to them and helping them, we're helping these illegals. And you know, I saw this one guy; he was asking questions on the street. You know, he's doing a street thing,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like, "Where would you rather money go to help illegals or help homeless people that are former veterans?" And these young people were like this: "Oh, we wanted to go to the illegals. These veterans, these homeless people had their chance. F them."
Yeah, no, dude, I totally agree with you. It's so egregious that it's mind blowing to me. Those homeless veterans, here, let me just say why a lot of them are homeless. Because they went to war overseas, came back effed up, have drug problems now because they were so effed up at what they did and what they saw. And now they're on the street because that's what happens when you have a drug problem and you hit rock bottom. You know, you either quit and move upward in life or you live on the streets. And
Yeah.
to not help them, but pay $1,000 a night at these fancy hotels when they first brought the people over, do you remember? Like, they were booking like the best hotels in New York. Are you kidding me?
Yep.
That's
I agree.
wrong.
The thing is, you know, I told you this story. I think it happened about 4 or 5 months ago. Someone came up in my backyard. I didn't know who it was, and it was this homeless guy. Right? He needed help, and I went outside, talked to him, and I was like, "Here, let me call an ambulance for you. Come and get you." And then he just walks off. He disappears. And what happened to him is he was actually like starving. He was starving to death. He hadn't had a drink in days. And so I chased after him after I got the cops, and I had the cops on the phone with me so I could get an ambulance there and they could help him out. And I got him to stay there until they got there. And I'm talking to him, and he's a veteran. He's like 60. I think he's almost 60 at the time. And
he was truly in jeopardy, right? Like,
yeah.
Just so everyone understands, this guy was in Matt's backyard.
No, he was in the woods for like 3 days. Hadn't had anything to drink. He was just slurping water out of puddles he could find. So he
he
probably
would have
had dysentery. He probably had
yeah,
dysentery.
yeah, he would have died if you didn't intervene.
Yeah.
Instead of kicking him off your land, you took the time to care about another human being and actually help him out. And it turned out where he needed help bad.
Well, when I was talking to him, because I gave him something to eat and drink too, because
Right.
he was pretty bad off. He couldn't even think. He had issues of thinking because he told me I saw the reflection, and I was like, "What? What are you talking?"
Yeah.
But anyway, I was talking to him, and he actually fought in the first Gulf War, right? And he also was in Grenada, right? And I'm like this, wow. And so I'm talking to him, and he's telling me, and he told me a few stories, and I was like, okay. He's like, there's some stuff I can't tell you. So I was like, this, all right, get you. But he was he had PTSD. He had all that stuff issues. He had a severe drug problem. I think he still does, because he's supposed to be in New Martinsville, and I'm 2 hours from New Martinsville. So I'm like, I don't know how you got to point A to point B here.
That's 100 miles, at least.
Depends on somewhere around there. 100. It's 100 to 120 miles. Yeah.
I couldn't imagine walking that distance.
Yeah. But this is an example of someone that needs help from the American people, and instead of giving him help, we're saying screw him, and we're going to give Chavo Guerrero, that's from freaking Venezuela, some help, who's actually bringing dope in here and everything else. I mean, like, make that make sense.
Right, and that's the whole point. We don't have enough money to help everybody, but we do have brains, and we can prioritize things. And guys who went and fought in a war for us should have priority over illegal immigrants. And I don't know how, like, the younger generation seems to be like completely manipulated sideways by the mainstream media. Like, they don't even have any powers of like thinking or discrimination. They just believe something ain't true.
Well, I get why they say it. I think it's because they believe the mainstream media, not mainstream media, but the Democrats' narrative, especially if they go to college and stuff. The narrative is we're colonialist, and our military we're colonial power, and we're trying to take the resources of other countries and bring it to the United States, right? So, we don't colonize anything. I was like this. Look, after World War II, we could have kept Germany and Japan and everything else, everything down.
Europe.
Yeah,
the whole Europe.
We could have kept it. We didn't. We gave it back. We rebuilt it. We paid to get it rebuilt. Not only that, we allowed them to do this structure of the economies where, when it comes to trade and tariffs, where it did not benefit us. We allowed it so they could rebound. And now 80 something years later, Trump's like this. Look, it needed to happen then. It does not need to happen now. We need to change things. And that's the reason he's doing the stuff with the tariffs. It's been like that for 80 years, where we've had these high tariffs in Europe, not allowing our vehicles there being sold or anything else. And he's like, that shit needs to end. And now we're allowed to do it.
Yeah, technically, economically, World War II just ended with the Trump tariffs. I mean, that's what it's saying. And it's crazy because we don't get to send any of the best stuff we make there because of their tariffs. These guys are bums. They're taking money from us every chance they get. NATO wasn't even contributing.
Yeah,
most nations.
That's what gets me about foreign aid. Most of our foreign aid, if it goes to Europe, obviously you don't know the NATO stuff that's going for their defense, but we still give them other foreign aid, which is crazy to me. And what's that for? And I'll tell you what's for. It's for their freaking health care. Right? It allows them to have that social medicine, and we do it all over around the world. Now, there's places that don't have socialized medicine. Places in South America, Africa. What that really is bribe money. Hey, you do what we ask you to do, and you allow us in. We'll go ahead and just keep on giving you money, and you can go ahead and keep oppressing your people. I was like, like
that's
what?
what's happening.
Yeah, I know. That's why. That's what.
It's crazy. Yeah, I mean, it needs to stop. We have no business paying for Ukraine healthcare. None.
And, or Israel's,
right. Americans are in need. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
I hate DC. It's so broken.
Yeah. I mean, I see a lot of people focusing on Israel. I think we need to stop that. All right, just stop being so aggressive on Israel. Don't get me wrong. I understand why people are, because that's essential right now. You're seeing that war going on. You don't understand what's going on. I get you. Okay. But my point with foreign aid worldwide, I want to cut it off.
Right.
Because I'm like this. Look, if you hate us, you can hate us for free. If you like us, you can like us for free. That's how I look at it. If you're indifferent for free.
Right, because we can't afford to pay for it.
Yeah.
In the end, what it's doing, because essentially we're printing all this money with no backing except for the petrodollar, sort of, in the right.
It's a real strange money scheme. It's a petrodollar mixed with debt. We're backing our currency with debt. And how are we doing that? It's because we sell our debt to like places like China, South Korea, and Japan. But then what happens if they call in the debt? That's like calling in the VIG. What happens?
We can't pay it.
We can't pay it. We take your leg. Oh, you can't pay it. We're gonna have to take Texas down.
The reason they don't call it in, especially China, is they know we can't pay it. Yeah, it would be that would be a worldwide depression.
Well, the reason they haven't called, actually, they do call it in slowly. They have been doing that. That's the reason you're seeing the dollar being used less as well. Russia actually they don't own any of our debt anymore. They did at one time, but they don't own any of it anymore. And that's the reason you have such actually good economics there, to be quite honest with you. Economically, they're not doing bad.
No, and Americans are being told the exact opposite of that. Like, Russia's hurting so bad, they're going to fall any day now. Well, you know what? If you believe that, I got a bridge to sell you in Arizona.
Yeah. I've been hearing that for freaking 3 years, and nothing's happened.
Hey, Russia's even producing all of their own smart munitions, okay? Yeah. And they're not behind schedule. We're 3 weeks to 3 months from running out in a conflict. That's not good.
No. Yeah, if you believe their numbers, it might be less, it might be more. We don't know. Some people just give you estimates, and you're like this. Okay, and some people sometimes, like some of these people that come out and talk, and they're from either the military background and they have connections, or they're from like CIA, was it the intel agencies.
Mm-hmm.
I take a lot of the stuff they say with grain of salt. I'm like this. There's a lot of truth in there, but there might be a lot of lies too. We gotta see where it's at, because the best way to convince you of something is give you the truth and then dash in a little bit of lie.
Right. 90% truth, 10% lie.
Yeah, and then slowly as the time goes on, when you actually start trusting them, then they'll add more lies into it.
Yeah, essentially that's what's happening out of DC, especially. I mean, again, it's broken. The whole system there is broken. I'm convinced that out of all the, I don't know if it's hundreds of billions we've sent to Ukraine. I looked it up the other day on Google, and they said it was 70. billion.
I think it's closer to 1.10. I mean, 110 billion. I
Right.
think it's closer to that. But 70 billion, we did a agreement with them where it was 300 billion. You're telling me we only 70 of it? I just don't believe that.
Right. Especially since what's going on here is that money was sent and a lot of it was funneled back to the very representatives who authorized it in DC. I mean, they're
Yep.
literally doing what Karl Marx, when he visited the US, he said, great system, but the people will bankrupt it when they realize they can vote themselves the entitlements. That's what we have going on now.
Yeah. The other thing they'll do is when they realize they can actually make money off of from the stock market, you're seeing that as well. With people like Nancy Pelosi and Dan Crenshaw. Oh, sue
Yeah.
me, sue me.
Yeah, when people those aren't just free dollars when they take advantage. When they take advantage and make money like that, you have to understand someone on the other side lost money.
Yeah. Well, they're showing the podium right now. No one's there yet.
But we are getting ready to start here pretty soon.
Yep.
Is anybody on over in Twitter? If you
Yep.
are on X, please click into YouTube here so we can see you and you can comment.
Well, they can comment on Twitter and we'll see it.
Okay.
Yep. If y'all want to go while you're here, go and hit the like button. That helps. If everybody hits the like button, we'll double on people watching. That's what it seems like it happens sometimes.
Right.
But we appreciate y'all being here. Thank you. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and put up the screen because I think he's going to be coming out soon. Well, it'd be helpful if we're on there too, ain't it? There you go.
Yeah, once they put the podium out there, there's usually between 2 and 5 minutes, and they're on. But he was scheduled for what time? 3:30.
4:30, 3:30 your time, 4:30 mine.
All right,
East Coast.
I would expect him anytime.
Yeah, it looks like he's not in the White House, so that might be why it's late. If he's in the White House, he's on time.
If that's the White House, that's got to be like the East Room or something.
I think he's at Mar-a-Lago, probably.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was gonna say that carpeting, that rug is not familiar.
No, they got pictures of the books they taken. I think.
That's cool. No, I mean, just so everybody understands that what's going on here with the taking of those boats is this. Trump isn't allowing Maduro to make money. Now, it costs Maduro $200 million a month to pay off all the people he has to pay off to be safe. Okay? They got like $1 billion in reserve, and we've been making sure that they can't get any of their oil out. They can't make any money for about a week now. So they maybe have 3 more weeks of currency until they're broke. When that happens, then we're going to find out what's what, because we have a $50 million bounty on him. And when people aren't getting paid, you might see something happen from the inside.
Yeah, one of his lieutenants might turn him in.
Yeah, or I mean,
here's the
ends like Julius Caesar if it goes that way, doesn't it?
Yeah, the nightmare is he gets replaced with someone worse.
Right.
That people, that's the nightmare. What you want is get replaced with either someone better, not as much of a socialist, or just straight up have election and get a new leader. I would prefer that, or the leader that should have been there, but he wouldn't leave office to let her to take office. Either one.
We're going to see here soon, because it looks like what Trump means to do is make them go broke so they can't pay their obligations. And understand, I mean, this money is going all the way from the guys who are his security to the guys out in the jungle that have these, labs or whatever set up. I mean, everybody's getting a piece.
Well, his security are mostly there's some
Cuban.
Venezuelan, but a lot of them are Cuban. I think there's also some Ecuadorians and a few other people that aren't from Venezuela that he brought in as his security team because he didn't trust his own people.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Yeah. It's kind of like if you look at Saddam Hussein, his security, all of his security, if y'all look into it, were Christians. And the reason he had Christians as a security team is because he didn't have to worry about them blowing themselves up.
Right. He trusted them.
Yeah.
It's funny, Muammar Gaddafi had all female security.
Yeah.
They guarded him for years.
Yeah.
And he trusted them. And, to my knowledge, they never screwed him over.
No. I'm pretty sure they're not the ones that, did what they did to him at the end. Yeah.
Right. Well, that was at Hillary Clinton's, let's just call it prodding, egging on. I don't know what to even call it.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, I don't really know how to describe what happened there.
Yeah. Let's just say
we saw, he died. Isn't that a quote?
Yeah. That's about it. Well, what happened to him was way worse than that. I mean,
I heard. Yeah, it was brutal.
He was a meat puppet with a broomstick.
Yeah. Yeah, he got tortured and then and you can't feel bad for him because he's a really bad guy.
Yeah. The thing is, hold on one second. After getting rid of him and Saddam Hussein, did they really make the Middle East better? Not really. Quite honestly.
We got a Al Qaeda guy leading Syria. I don't know what is going on in Syria or Lebanon.
Well, Lebanon, that's a little bit more different discussion. But Libya, what happened in Libya is now it's one of the centers of slave trade in Africa. And I was like,
so horrible.
Yeah. And then you have Iraq is pretty much a satellite of Iran now.
I know. Yeah, Saddam was a horrible, evil man, but he kept status quo antebellum. He kept the balance of power.
Yeah, he kept Iran under control.
Right.
Yeah. Take
him away, and now Iraq is literally a satellite of Iran, which I'm sure Iran feels great about it. They don't have an enemy to their south or south, west.
Well, they don't have an enemy government. They probably have enemies there in Iraq because the difference in their religious beliefs when it comes to one's Sunni and one's Shia. But other than that, the government there is under control by the Iranians, and they do what they tell them to do.
Yeah, it's crazy the way things turned out. That's why just remember, nation building doesn't work.
Well, the idea of bringing democracy to a group of people that never had it or understand it by a barrel of a gun doesn't make sense.
Right. It's an unrealistic goal. They don't even want it. That's the worst part about it. They don't want democracy. And truthfully, I don't want democracy either. I don't want mob rule. I like that we live in a republic.
Yeah. Well, now they've taken the camera off of it. I'm looking to see if there's any announcements. What's going on here? Hold on a second.
Go ahead. if you guys make some comments, we'll talk about them.
Yeah. Oh, today President Trump appointed Louisiana governor. Huh? Oh,
here he comes.
I got the mic on.
He brought the whole group.
Okay.
For this exciting announcement of the new Golden Fleet. We're calling it the Golden Fleet that we're building for the United States Navy. As you know, we're desperately in need of ships. Our ships some of them have gotten old and tired and obsolete.
There you go.
And we're going to go the exact opposite direction. We're delighted to be joined by Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, who's doing a fantastic job, and Secretary of the Navy, John Phelan. Marco Rubio is here, who gave a great few words toward the end of last week. He spoke for a couple of hours on what a good job we're doing, which is true. As Commander-in-Chief, it's my great honor to announce that I have approved a plan for the Navy to begin the construction of two brand new, very large, largest we've ever built, battleships. You know, you used to build the Iowa, the Missouri, the Wisconsin, the Alabama, many others. We had big battleships. These are bigger, but they will have 100 times they'll be 100 times the force, the power, and there's never been anything like these ships. These have been under design consideration for a long time, and it started with me in my first term, because I said, why aren't we doing battleships like we used to? And these are the best in the world. They'll be the fastest, the biggest, and by far 100 times more powerful than any battleship ever built. So if you look at the Iowa, the Missouri, Wisconsin, Alabama, and others, but they were similar in size, some a little bit bigger than the others. But if you take the biggest one, it's 100 times more powerful. They're longer by a little bit. But and they're bigger ships, but they hold much more. They use the word lethality. Battleships are the largest, sturdiest, and most heavily armed vessel built specifically for naval combat. While America has built many new warships over the years, they've tended to be smaller, much smaller, and not conducive to where we are and where we're going, and peace through strength. But including, we've been building aircraft carriers. We're going to be upping that also. We're going to be going to a superior aircraft. We have the Ford class. We're going to be upping that to a different class of aircraft carrier. And we haven't built a battleship since 1994. These cutting-edge vessels will be some of the most lethal surface warfare ships. It will be actually the most ever built other than our submarines. We have submarines which will have, in many ways, even more lethality, and we have many of them under construction. Each one of these will be the largest battleship in the history of our country, the largest battleship. 100 times more powerful than the previous Iowa class, it's called. Those are the big ones that you'd see on a show. Victory at Sea. I don't know if anyone's seen Victory at Sea, but it was a classic. They'll help maintain American military supremacy, revive the American shipbuilding industry, and inspire fear in America's enemies all over the world. We want respect. We're going to have it. We already have it. More respected now than we ever were. A year and a half ago, they laughed at us. Now they respect us again at levels that they've never respected us. We envision that these two ships, we're talking about 10, but we're going to start with 2, and we're going to quickly morph into 10. And ultimately, we think it's going to be anywhere from 20 to 25 of these. But we're starting with the first 2 immediately, and we're going to then be very quickly involved with, I think, we're going to do another 8. And then we're going to ultimately and pretty quickly have a total of about 20 to 25. We'll make that determination. We envision that these ships will the first of a whole new class of battleships to be produced in the years to come. From Theodore Roosevelt, the Great White Fleet, you remember that, the Great White Fleet, to the legendary USS Missouri, whose massive guns helped win World War II. America's battleships have always been unmistakable symbols of national power. We stopped making them for whatever reason, I don't know. And I want to congratulate John Thalen, who is your secretary of the Navy. He came to me the first day we met. He talked about battleships, and I said, "You're absolutely on the right track." He said, "Why are we doing other things? We have missiles, which are much more expensive." By the way, these battleships have tremendous numbers of missiles, but they also have guns. And in many ways, guns can do the trick just as well as missiles at a tiny fraction of the cost. Once completed, these new 30 to 40,000 ton plus vessels will be the flagships of the American naval fleet, and there has never been anything built like them. And I just want to, be very clear that we're building them here. We're working with others. We're building them here. We have great Navy yards. We'll be negotiating with some of the companies that are running those yards, taking over the yards. We used to build a ship a day during World War II. Now we don't do ships very much anymore. We do military ships. We do submarines. By the way, we're 15 to 20 years advanced in our submarines over anybody else. That was one of the things that I did in my first term. We make the best submarines by far in the world. We're at least 15 years advanced ahead of anybody else in submarine development. Most powerful, that's right, the most powerful weapon anywhere in the world, undetectable. So the battleships are going to be armed just in terms of guns and missiles at the highest level. They'll also have hypersonic weapons, many hypersonic weapons, state-of-the-art electric rail guns, and even the high-powered lasers that you've been starting to read about. We have lasers where you aim the laser at a target and it just wipes it out. We're going to have, there'll be
He's admitting about
most
lasers.
sophisticated lasers in the world, and the most sophisticated laser in the world
They've
will
been
be
out
on the
for a minute.
battleships that we're building. They'll also
They
carry
never
the
admitted them,
nuclear
though.
armed pre-launched cruise missiles currently under development, which will be instituted pretty quickly, but they're under development and they've proven to be extremely lethal. The U.S. Navy will lead the design of these ships along with me, because I'm a very aesthetic person, alongside our partners in American industry. And
That means they're going to have
Pete
gold
Hegseth
rims on them.
and Marco, and a lot of very talented people involved, but a lot of it's already been done. We've been doing this for months. The construction will create thousands of American jobs. We're going to have the jobs be created. I mean, already we have factories being built unrelated to this, although AI will be a big factor when it comes to these ships. They'll be very AI controlled. Today's announcement is yet another step in our mission to make the United States Navy stronger than ever before. Again, when you talk about 100 times the power of these massive ships that we had years ago, it's pretty amazing. And next week, I'm going to meet with the defense prime contractors. I'm going to meet with them here, Florida. And we're going to be talking about production schedules because they're too slow. We have many countries, allies, that are wanting to buy. We make the greatest equipment in the world by far. Nobody's even close, but they don't produce them fast enough. So we're going to be meeting with them to talk about the production schedules. We're going to have strong production schedules. And the only way they're going to be able to do that is to build new plants. Even with the F-35, we have many people who want the F-35 fighter jet, and it takes too long to deliver them to allies or to ourselves. It takes too long. The only way they're going to be able to deliver them is if they build new plants. They don't want to build new plants because that's expensive. So we're going to be discussing production schedules. We're going to be discussing CapEx spending. We'll be discussing the pay to executives where they're making $45 and $50 million a year and not being able to build quickly. They're going to make that kind of money. They have to build quickly. Again, we make the best equipment in the world, but they don't make them fast enough. And we're going to be also discussing dividends. We want the dividends to go into the creation of production facilities. So we'll be talking about all CapEx, dividends, and the pay. We're also going to be talking about buybacks. They spend so much money on buyback. They want to buy back their stock. I don't want them to buy back their stock. I want them to put the money in plant and equipment so they can build these planes fast, rapidly, like immediately. I mean, I have sold more planes than any president by far, times probably 20. So every time I go someplace, I sell 100 planes. That includes commercial planes, Boeings, et cetera, but it also includes fighter jets. And I'm always having to say 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, helicopters, Apache helicopters, many years. India bought them. They want to get them. They don't want to wait a long time. So we don't want to have executives making $50 million a year, issuing big dividends to everybody, and also doing buybacks. And then they say, well, we don't have the money to build a plant. They got to build plants. Plants to make F-35s, plants to make helicopters, plants to make the F-47 new jet. And that's it. And that's what I'm going to be talking to them about. They're going to start spending money on building airplanes and ships and the things that we need, not in 10 years and 15 years. We need them now. And we're strong about it. Last week, the Navy announced a brand new class of frigate, and they're going to be working with the South Korean company. Hanwha, a good company, recently agreed to invest $5 billion in Philadelphia Naval Shipyard. We're opening up the Philadelphia Shipyard. Once a great yard. Now it was a long time ago decommissioned, but now it's reopened.
We do need to get our
Working with the Navy and
shipbuilding
working
back
with
up. China's
private companies.
producing a
The
ton of ships.
record-setting defense bill I signed last week authorized $26 billion to build new ships, including destroyers and various others. We already have a lot of submarines, as you know, under construction. We're building a lot of submarines. I tell you, to be exact, we have right now 15 submarines under construction or ready to start. And we have, again, the greatest submarine in the world with our technology, like they talk about chips. Well, I would say submarines are a bigger deal than chips. We're at least 15 years ahead of any other competitor. China, Russia, nobody can come close. We're also building right now 3 large aircraft carriers in addition to the ones we have. And we have actually, interestingly, we have a lot of submarines. How many submarines do we have now altogether, approximately? Huh? What?
Over 30.
We have over 30. But these are the super duper subs, and there's nothing like them. So we're going to be doing from 12 to 15 brand new submarines. We have a couple of other things going on. We'll be building other elements of Navy. We'll be fixing up headquarters. We'll be fixing up places for our great sailors to live. And we're going to be working very hard with companies, but we're also going to be penalizing companies that aren't doing a good job. For instance, when they built the Ford, Gerald Ford, the cost overruns were ridiculous. That was done in Norfolk, Virginia. We're going to be talking about that with that company. The cost overruns were out of control. In World War II, the United States built upwards of 4 ships per day. Can you believe it? 4 ships a day on average. And now there weren't all big warships, but there were ships, freighters, tankers. And it's a tragedy that we allowed this incredible capability just go astray. We don't do that much anymore. We do build our warships, but that's about it. But that's a lot. We're going to restore America as a major shipbuilding power. We're going to ensure the USA is the most powerful fleet anywhere in the world and long into the future, with battleships helping lead the way and the submarines. And again, nobody competes with us on submarines. So I just want to thank everybody, and I'd like to ask Secretary Hegseth to say a few words, followed by the Secretary, but if you would, Secretary of the Navy. But Pete's doing a fantastic job. By the way, we have drugs are down 96.2% coming into the United States. 92.6 by sea. And soon we'll be starting the same program on land. The land is much easier. But every one of those boats that we knocked out saved 25,000 lives. So we saved 25,000 lives every time we knock out one of those boats with the drugs pouring in. And you just have to see it. I mean, people say, oh, gee, do you think it was really drugs? Well, just take a look. Bags all over the place. That's not fishing equipment. There's no fishing rods on those boats. They move fast. When you see a boat with 4 engines or 5 engines on, going 40, 50 miles an hour, well, they get hit. We save 25,000 lives every single time we knock out a boat. And it's over 96% stopped by sea. We're trying to figure out who the other 4% are, frankly.
Shit,
And,
nobody's
we're
even
gonna have the
fishing
same
anymore.
success.
They're afraid.
But even quicker because it's much easier on land. If they want to come by land, they're going to end up having a big problem.
They're just doing it in fresh water.
Because we don't want our people poisoned. 300,000 people died, probably last year, 300,000. A lot of people say it was 200. Somebody said last night, it was only 175,000 people. That's like 3 stadiums,
Only?
big football stadiums filled up with people dying.
Only?
But I think the real number is 300,000. We're not going to have that anymore. So
I don't doubt it.
Great job, and we enjoy doing it. Our border is secure.
I saw
Our
numbers
country
at
is strong. Trillions of
250,000.
dollars is coming into our country
I'm not
from
going
other
to
countries.
swivel over
companies.
50,000.
They're building factories and
No,
plants, including oil plants,
plague.
all over the United States of America. Without tariffs, they wouldn't be doing anything, although they were very happy with the November 5th election. But it's only because they want to avoid paying tariffs that they're all coming in. And again, the biggest number was $3 trillion in history. That was China many years ago. Now it's $18 trillion, and that's just in 10 months. We think we could hit $20 trillion. That's investment in the United States, including plant and equipment. So thank you very much. And I'll ask Pete to say a few words, and then John. If you have any questions, we'll take them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, Mr. President, you're exactly right. There are no fishing poles, no fishermen, and no fishing boats, just drug dealers and narco terrorists. And with every strike, we're saving American lives. No other president is willing to do real deterrence. That's exactly what's happening. It's an honor to be here, Mr. President, Mr. Secretary, Secretary Rubio, to talk about what peace through strength really looks like. You can talk about it, or you can invest in it and you can build it. And that's exactly what President Trump is doing. At the Department of War, we're restoring the warrior ethos. In fact, the president mentioned the NDAA. We put into law merit-based. We put into law getting rid of DEI and political correctness. That's now part of how our military operates. And you've seen it in record recruiting in the spirit of the Department of War. We're rebuilding the military. President Trump did it once. He's doing again with historic investments today in shipbuilding. And we're reestablishing deterrence, whether that's at the border, whether it's through Golden Dome, what happened with Midnight Hammer and what Iran found out, those drug boats, and of course the Houthis opening up the shipping lanes. American strength is back on the world stage. And the announcement of the Golden Fleet, anchored by new battleships, the biggest and most lethal ever, accomplishes all 3 of those things and marks a generational commitment to American sea power. Across the entire department, we are developing new operational concepts, deploying cutting-edge technologies, and making major investments, including in our Navy. This is happening in all domains, including space, as the president has talked about before anyone else. So it's the highest of domains and the lowest of domains under sea, and especially today in sea power, that always has to be decisive, has been in the history of America, and will continue to be under the leadership of President Trump. We will make sure that anything that flows from our country and with our allies flows freely and uncontested. New and better ships will provide that deterrent today and for generations to come. This new class, these new investments will be the types of things that for decades, for centuries, the American people will look back and thank President Trump for having the vision and the willingness to invest right now in capabilities we need today, tomorrow, and long into the future. So, Mr. President, thank you for this investment, and I'll hand it over now to the Navy Secretary.
Mr. President, Secretary Hegseth, Secretary Rubio, thank you for being here on a very consequential day. From my very first conversation with President Trump about serving as the Secretary of the Navy, he's talked about the great Iowa-class battleship and why America doesn't build ships anymore with that kind of offensive firepower that takes the fight to the enemy. During my time in the job, I've talked extensively with our combatant commanders, like Admiral Paparo and Admiral Cooper, and our CNO, Admiral Cottle. What I've learned is that not only is the president's idea a good one, it's something that Navy desperately needs and now has a formal requirement for. The future Trump-class battleship, the USS Defiant, will be the largest, deadliest, and most versatile and best-looking warship anywhere on the world's oceans. I want to thank the president for his vision to make this game-changing capability for the United States Navy. The Iowa was designed to go on the attack with the biggest guns, and that's exactly what will define the Trump-class battleships. Offensive firepower from the biggest guns of our era. This ship isn't just to swat the arrows. It is going to reach out and kill the archers. And for the first time in generations, we'll have a new leg in America's nuclear deterrence, because the Trump-class battleship will carry the nuclear-armed, sea-launched cruise missile. Striking dominance isn't all that the Trump-class battleship brings to the fight at sea. It has the size and capacity to serve as a flagship for our fleet commanders so that they can command and control naval forces far out to sea. As shown in the series, and the president mentioned it, Victory at Sea, Admirals Bull Halsey and Raymond Spruance commanded the war in the Pacific from their battleship flagships during World War II. Now this new battleship will command everything from warships to drones and everything in between. We're going to make battle groups great again. And this is just one piece of the president's golden fleet that we're going to build with the investments he talked about. A new frigate, the right frigate, the one our warfighters have told us they need. More amphibious power for our Marines with new capabilities like the medium landing ship. As part of the Navy's high-low mix, we're moving out aggressively on unmanned vessels with funding from the president's One Big Beautiful Bill to bring options to the fight and pull new, non-traditional defense partners into the American shipbuilding ecosystem. And we're making a generational investment in support ships. Logistics wins wars, and that kind of shipbuilding is the spark that will ignite the industrial base and help power the commercial shipbuilding that the president has called for. Under your leadership, Mr. President, we will have more tonnage and firepower under construction than ever before in our history. Building the president's golden fleet means jobs across the United States now. There'll be work for shipyards everywhere, from Philadelphia to San Diego, from Maine to Mississippi, from the Great Lakes to the Gulf Coast. And for manufacturers that will build components for this battleship in every state. The president has been clear. We must bring back our American maritime industrial might. And he has told me many times that as Secretary of the Navy, it is my job to equip our sailors to win the fight at sea with the finest ships in our history. To conclude, the USS Defiant battleship will inspire awe and reverence for the American flag whenever it pulls into a foreign port. It will be a source of pride for every American when it brings home our brave sailors who will sail defiant, raise their fists, and say, "We are peace through strength." And our adversaries will know when the Trump-class USS Defiant appears on the horizon, American victory at sea is inevitable. Thank you, Mr. President. Now, when a conflict arises, you are going to ask not one, but two questions. Where are the carriers and where are the battleships? Thank you.
I like the name, Defiant.
I just want to mention that John Phelan is one of the most successful businessmen in the country, in our country. Been a tremendous success, and he wanted to do this. And for nothing, he's taken probably the largest salary cut in history. But he wanted to do it. He wants to rebuild our Navy, and you needed that kind of a brain to do it properly. So I just wanted to give you a little information on him, which is probably enough. But one of the most successful men in the country, and he's that because he understands it. and he understands finance in addition to what we're talking about. Somebody who's doing a fantastic job is Marco Rubio, Secretary of State. And Marco, maybe say a few words, and then we'll answer some questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I don't have much to add. This is a phenomenal presentation. Thank you, Mr. President. This is American industrial power returning. This is the ability, once again, to rebuild, to have industry in the United States. This is generational in the change, not just in terms of applying American war power, increasing our ability to protect the seas. The U.S. Navy is the single biggest source of peace in the world of all of our forces because it gives us a global footprint. But it rebuilds American industrial capacity. The ability to make things again in our country has been critical to what the president's agenda has been all about, and this is a tangible reminder of it. And
hey guys, if y'all want to comment and we'll and ask us some questions, we'll answer after the presentation's over.
I'd just like to point out that these ships are made of steel as opposed to aluminum. It's a big difference, as you know. Battleships, the great battleships, had 6 and 7 inch steel hulls. And these are going to be likewise made out of very powerful steel. Our steel industry is coming back very strongly, by the way. It's coming back at record numbers. And we're going to be using them for the steel, but as opposed to an aluminum side, which in all fairness is not the same. So, John, we're going with all steel, I understand. And it's going to be something that people are surprised, more expensive, but not even comparable in terms of the importance and the strength. Yeah, please.
What's your timetable for these first 2 ships, and do you see them as a
Yeah,
counter to
we'll
China?
start almost immediately, and we'll probably talking about 2.5 years.
And in terms of the mission, do you see it as a counter to China?
It's a counter to everybody. It's not China. We get along great with China. I have a great relationship with President Xi, and not China. It's just everybody. You don't know who comes along. But we just wanted peace through strength. Hopefully we never have to use them, but there will never be anything built like these. Think of it. Those battleships are incredible. These have 100 times the power. Think of that. And they were big and they were powerful. You know, I thought about taking some that are in dry dock and changing them. And then when I said that, you know, if we did, would be about, we could increase, if we doubled them, they'd be at like just a tiny fraction of what one of these was. This is the new technology, which is incredible. So we decided pretty early on not to do that. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, Julio Rosas with Most Peaceful Media. You just referenced the lower amount of illegal drugs that are coming by sea, and you just said that you're going to start that same program on land soon. Are you just referring to Venezuela, or are you referring to other countries in Latin America?
Anywhere drugs are pouring in, anywhere, not just Venezuela. Yes.
Speaking of Venezuela, oil, what are we going to do with the oil that we have?
Going to do with what?
The oil that has been seized. The United States seized 1.9 million barrels of oil
We're
on
keeping
December
it.
10th.
We're going to keep it. We're keeping it.
Where's it going? Are we going to sell it or put it in the strategic
Maybe
oil
we'll sell
reserve?
it. Maybe we'll keep it. Maybe we'll use it in the strategic reserves. We're keeping it. We're keeping the ships also. Yeah, please.
About Venezuela, sir, have you spoken to American oil companies that have had their assets seized about what a post-Maduro
Yes.
Venezuela would mean for them, and what coming
I have
back and restarting
All
operations?
the big ones. Yeah, I have. Yeah, please.
Why do you feel like this initiative was neglected for so many years? And does this come amidst the rising tensions between the U.S. and Venezuela?
We're talking about with Venezuela.
Yes.
Well, you had a different kind of a president before me. They didn't mind being ripped off. They didn't mind being robbed. They didn't mind drugs pouring into our country. They didn't mind the jails of Venezuela and Trinidad and Nicaragua being emptied into the U.S. where they take over Colorado and other places. I do mind. So you had a different kind of a president. I hope people are enjoying it because we've never been respected more than we are now. Yeah, please.
That's right.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. Were you surprised by the number of photos of Bill Clinton in the Epstein files? And can you commit to their
By
full?
what?
And were you surprised by the number of photos of Bill Clinton in the Epstein files? And can you commit to their full release by the end of the year? Some of the victims
Beautiful
were
question.
protesting that too many of them were redacted.
I know there are a lot of people that are angry about all of the pictures of other people, you know, but I think it's terrible. Look, I like Bill Clinton. I've always gotten along with Bill Clinton. I've been nice to him. He's been nice to me. We've always gotten along, respect him. I hate to see photos come out of him, but this is what the Democrats, mostly Democrats, and a couple of bad Republicans are asking for. So they give me their photos of me too. Everybody was friendly with this guy, either friendly or not friendly, but they, he was around. He was all over Palm Beach and other places. The head of Harvard was his best friend, Larry Summers, and Bill Clinton was a friend of his. But everybody was. I actually threw him out of Mar-a-Lago, and as a person who was in Mar-a-Lago, I threw him out. Mar-a-Lago, this is Mar-a-Lago. It's the hottest place I think it's the hottest place in the world, but it's the hottest place in Florida. And everybody would come here, he'd come here. We actually threw him out. But no, I don't like the pictures of Bill Clinton being shown. I don't like the pictures of other people being shown. I think it's a terrible thing. I think Bill Clinton's a big boy, he can handle it, but you probably have pictures being exposed of other people that innocently met Jeffrey Epstein years ago, many years ago, and they're highly respected bankers and lawyers and others, and they'll end up, because of guys like Massey, who's a real lowlife, whose polls are down to about 9%, by the way, in the great state of Kentucky. If you look at Kentucky,
That's not helping
Kentucky
you.
is such a
Nope,
great place.
not at
I
all.
don't know. They've got a couple of people on there that are very strange in terms of leadership, but Massey's a loser, and he likes
He's
it.
a
And he
genius.
works with the Democrats. He's just being used by the Democrats, because what this whole thing is with Epstein is a way of trying to deflect from the tremendous success that the Republican Party has. Like, for instance, today we're building the biggest ships in the world, most powerful ships in the world, and they're asking me questions about Jeffrey Epstein. I thought that was finished. I believe they gave over 100,000 pages of documents.
They didn't ask
And
you
there's
about you and
tremendous
Jeffrey Epstein,
backlash.
bud.
It's an interesting question, because
You need
a
to
lot
get
of
off
people are very angry
get off
that
the different subject.
pictures
Stop.
are being released of
Stop.
other people that really had nothing to do with Epstein, but they're in a picture with him because he was in a party,
Stop digging.
and you ruin a reputation.
You're
of somebody.
deranged. Get off the
So a
deranged
lot of people
syndrome
are,
stuff. Get
very
come on.
angry that this continues. A lot of Republicans are angry
Get to the
because of
boat.
the fact that it's just used to deflect against a tremendous success. Look, we have $18 trillion coming into our country. We have, I believe, we're going to have the most successful economy in history. We inherited a mess. Now prices are coming way down. Gasoline is less than $2 in some states. $1.99, $1.97, $1.95 a gallon. $1.95. Think of that. A gallon. Nobody ever thought they'd see that. They don't want to talk about that. They want to talk about Epstein. And the problem is a lot of Democrats are being caught up in the web, like Larry Summers. Larry Summers was the head of Harvard. He's now been forced to resign from every board he's on, and he was thrown off the Harvard board.
Just
He was,
release
he
the
was
shit
at
and be done
Epstein's
with it,
Island a
man.
lot. I wasn't. I never went there, by the way. But
Or at least stop talking
fortunately,
about it.
it's nice. But I never
Right,
went there. But a lot
that
of people
too.
did go there.
That too, man.
But instead of
It
talking
isn't
about the
helping him.
battleships, or instead of talking about most favored nations
Oh.
drugs, we're bringing down drug prices like at a level that has never even been thought of, by thousands. Think of it, by 1,000%, by 1,200, 1,300, 1,400% in some cases. A drug that sells for $10 in London is costing $130 in New York. We're bringing it down to $20, and they're going to go up to 20.
Keep talking
So they're
about
going
that.
from 10 to
That's
20, which is a
bullshit. Keep
doubling.
talking about that.
It's a doubling. It's a lot, but it's a doubling. But we're going down to 20. So we're going down, if you can do your own math, but it's 2,000%, 3,000%. It's pretty amazing. And the New York Times had a story about it, a small story way in the back of the paper. It's the single biggest thing to happen with respect to drugs probably in 50 years. It's never been anything like this. In my first term, I was able to get drug prices down 1/4%. It's the first time in 28 years that they went down. 1/4%. I was so proud of myself. Now we're doing them 2,000%, 1,500%, 1,200%.
He's just gonna keep rambling. He
That
can't
bill
help it, dude. He could
that
do like
sold
2 or
for
3 hours.
$130 will now be selling, as an example, for $20, because the rest of the world took advantage of us. Without tariffs, I could have never done it. I called up the heads of the countries, as an example, France.
I swear I
spoke to
saw
a very
Marco
good man,
go look. Can I take
President
this mic from
Macron,
him?
France. And I said, Emmanuel, you have to raise your drug prices.
When they first walked out, they
He said,
all
"No,
had the
no,
deer in
we
the
don't
headlights
do that."
look.
I said, you have to. I said, no, I don't want to do that. Look, you're asking me if we go to $10 to $20, you're going to come way down to 20. We don't want to do that. Now, in all fairness, no other president even tried. But if they did try, there was actually a fake story in Stupid USA Today. I didn't even think they'd make it anymore. I haven't. But I saw a story where Biden was trying to do this. Biden never tried to do it. Biden didn't know he was alive. He never tried to do it. But they're taking it from $10 to 20. So he would say, and the other leader said the same thing. No, we won't do it. I said, no, you're going to do it 100%. They said, nope, we're not doing it. We're not going to double our price. Because again, if you go from $10 to $20, they're doubling their price. We're coming down though from $130 to $20 because we're going to get the lowest drug prices in the world. Whatever the lowest price is called favored nations. We're going to have the lowest price. So I said, no, you're going to. No, I will not do this. Politically, it's unacceptable. I said, Emmanuel, you're going to do it 100%. Please accept it now. Be nice. You're going to do it 100%. No, I will not. I said, yes, you are. He said, why do you keep telling me I am when I'm not? Because if you don't do it, I'm going to put a 25% tariff on everything France sells into the United States of America.
Ooh.
And that's approximately 20 times more than I'm asking for with respect to drug prices. He said, oh, I see. I agreed to do it. Every other country said the exact same thing. They all said, no, I will not do it. I said, all right, on Monday morning, you'll have the 25% tariff, everything you sell. In the case of France, it was wine, champagne, cars, everything they sell. It's 25 to 30 times the price of what we're talking at 25%. Every single country agreed. And that was a big problem. The drug companies were difficult, but fine, because we have a certain control over the drug companies. We had no control over these foreign nations. So every single country has agreed to do this. So we will take that pill price down as an example, talking about not just pills, we're talking about everything. We'll take it down from $130 a pill down to $20 a pill. And the rest of the world will take it from $10 a pill up to $20. It's the biggest thing ever to happen, and it's covered, barely covered in the New York Times because it's a fake newspaper. Yeah.
Mr. President, on shipbuilding, how does the administration plan to ensure that there's sufficient workforce availability as you're producing these ships?
Could you speak up?
How does the administration plan to ensure there is sufficient workforce availability as you're producing these ships?
We're going to have it. We're going to have tremendous workforce availability. We're also going to have robots helping us. We're going to have a lot of robots helping us because we need it. And because we're going to town, we're building a lot between the AI and the auto plants. So we're going to need robots. We're going to have robots, but that's going to help us. We're going to have a tremendous workforce. And in order to operate you're always going to need people. You know, you can have robots, but you're going to have to get somebody to start those robots, and you're going to have to improve the robots. But we're going to have robotic factories plus manpower. So we're going to have enough. We're going to need the help of robots and other forms of, I guess you could say, employment. We're going to be employing a lot of artificial things, but the beauty is we're going to have more jobs than we've ever had. Just so you know, a number came out the other day. We have more jobs right now in the United States. More people are working right now in the United States than at any time in the history of our country. Think of that. Pretty amazing. So we'll have the help of, mechanical help, if you want to call it that, but we'll have tremendous employment. They'll be paid a lot of money. They'll do better than they ever did. Okay?
Mr. President, some may have been expecting a different kind of announcement today, hearing your Secretary of War and Secretary of State here. You mentioned strikes on land in Venezuela more than 15 times, even now, just in your recent remarks. Why should Maduro take your threats seriously? And
He can do whatever he wants.
What's your end game?
Maduro?
What's your end game?
There's no answer. He can do whatever he wants. I mean, we have a massive armada formed, the biggest we've ever had, and by far the biggest we've ever had in South America. He can do whatever he wants. It's all right. Whatever he wants to do. If he wants to do something,
Well, you want him to tell you what his
plays
plan
tough.
is?
It'll be the last time he's ever able to play tough. But They sent their prisoners into us. They sent people from jails, prisons. They sent people from mental institutions and insane asylums into the United States, just walked right in because Biden had an open border policy. What the Biden administration did to our country can never be forgotten. They took in millions and millions, 25 million people over the course of 4 years. Many of those people were murderers and drug dealers, prisoners, rough prisoners, 11,888 murders. More than half of them killed more than one person. They came into our country. Now, I spoke to Christine Noem today. I spoke to Tom Homan today. He came down to see me. And we had a great meeting. They've done an amazing job. We're getting them out. We're getting them out very fast. But this should have never happened. But Venezuela was Venezuela took advantage of the open borders that Biden created more than any other country. Tren de Aragua, we had gangs all over. Look, I mean, you have a very weak governor in Colorado. Look what happened in Colorado where they would occupy apartment houses. And he didn't want to do anything about it because he was scared. Any other questions? Yeah, go ahead, please.
So in response to the United States taking sanctioned oil from Venezuela, Colombian President Gustavo Petro criticized the United States by saying, well, the Southwest is stolen land and that it should be returned to Latin America. I just wanted to know what your response to that
Well,
is.
he has to watch because, you know, he's got drug factories. They make cocaine in Colombia. And he's no friend of the United States. He's very bad guy. And he's got to watch his ass because he makes cocaine and they send it into the United States of America from Colombia. We love the Colombian people.
Yeah, that's what I love about
people.
Trump.
They're great people,
They better
energetic,
watch his
smart,
ass.
great. But their new leader is a troublemaker, and he better watch it. He better close up those cocaine factories. They have at least 3 major cocaine factories. We know where they are. He better close them up fast, yeah. By the way, it's made and sold into the United States. Comes through Mexico.
Thank you, sir. You've named Governor Landry to be new special envoy to Greenland. How do you, what do you see that role entailing? And is it still your intention that
Well, he
Greenland
called me,
become part
and
of the
you know,
US?
he viewed Louisiana, the Louisiana Purchase. He said, "I'm governor of Louisiana," and he said, "I would love." I didn't call him; he called me. He's very proactive. He's a great guy. He's a deal guy. He's a deal maker type guy. And we need it for national protection. We need Greenland for national protection. They have a very small population. And I don't know, they say Denmark, but Denmark has spent no money. They have no military protection. They say that Denmark was there 300 years ago or something with a boat. Well, we were there with boats too, I'm sure. So we'll have to work it all out. But he felt very strongly, we need it for we need Greenland for national security. Not for minerals. We have so many sites for minerals and oil and everything. We have more oil than any other country in the world. We need Greenland for national security. And if you take a look at Greenland, you look up and down the coast, you have Russian and Chinese ships all over the place. We need it for national security. We have to have it. And he wanted to lead the charge. So we're making him, Marco, today, a special envoy to Greenland. Greenland's a big deal. Yeah.
On Ukraine, can you give an update on the talks that took place this past weekend, and could a trilateral discussion of sort be the next step for Ukrainian, U.S. and Russian
So the
delegations?
talks in Ukraine, Russia are going along. They lost, as you know, 27,000 soldiers last month, mostly soldiers, some people in Kiev, etc., but mostly soldiers. And the talks are going along. And I say that, you know, there's tremendous hatred between these two leaders, between President Putin, President Zelensky, tremendous hatred, and I hope we can get it done. We are talking, talks are going okay, but, you know, I've solved 8 wars, and Thailand is starting to shape up. You know, they started with Cambodia, they started up again, but I think, Marco, we have that in pretty good shape to have that stopped. So we stopped 8 wars, and I thought this would be in the middle of the pack, but maybe easy, but in the middle of the pack. But there's a lot of hatred between those two people, and when there's hatred, there's. But we stopped one war 38 years, one war 35 years, one war was going on for 32 years. And we stopped, think of it, we stopped a potential nuclear war between Pakistan and India. And the head of Pakistan, highly respected general, he's a field marshal. And also the Prime Minister of Pakistan said, President Trump saved 10 million lives, maybe more, by getting that war. 8 planes were shot down. That war was starting to rage. And he actually said the other day that President Trump saved 10 million lives, maybe more. So we solved all these wars. The only one I haven't solved yet is Russia, Ukraine.
Are you still pushing for the Christmas date deadline with Russia and Ukraine? And have you spoken with Putin or Zelensky or plan to push the deal?
I'll do whatever I have to do. I mean, I'd like to see it stop. Look, we don't lose any money in that war anymore. Biden gave $350 billion, and who knows what happened to it. We now sell missiles, planes, all of the best military equipment. We sell it to NATO. We got NATO to go from 2% GDP to 5%. Nobody believed that to this day. Nobody's going to write that. Nobody believed it. And they take that money and they pay it to the United States for weapons. So we sell weapons to NATO. We sell full price. We sell weapons to NATO, and NATO takes those weapons and probably distributes them, but gives a lot of them to Ukraine. So we don't lose any money like we did with Biden. He was spending money like a fool. He was a fool. What he did to our country is so horrible. But he gave $350 billion between cash, gave a lot of cash, $350 between cash and weapons. You remember at the beginning of that whole thing, I gave them javelins. Javelins are the anti-tank busters. And President Obama at the time gave them sheets. I gave them javelins. They gave them sheets. But the bottom line is I think they're all tired of that war. Everyone's tired of that war. It's got to stop. Yeah, please.
The U.S. was in active pursuit of a sanctioned oil tanker yesterday. Are you able to share what became of that tanker? Was the U.S. able to seize
No,
it?
it's moving along, and we'll end up getting it. Yeah, we're actually pursuing it. Can you imagine? Because it came from the wrong location. It came out of Venezuela, and it was sanctioned. Yeah, please.
Ultimate goal in Venezuela to force Maduro from power.
Well, I think it probably would. I can't tell that. That's up to him what he wants to do. I think it would be smart for him to do that. But again, we're going to find out. Look, Venezuela did terrible things to the United States. They sent hundreds of thousands of people, millions of people into our open border. They sent their criminals. They sent their prisoners. They sent their drug dealers. They sent their mentally insane and incompetent people into our country more than any other country. Others did too. The Congo did. Others did too. And we just let them come right in because we were run by a stupid president. But you don't have a stupid president anymore.
Mr. President, have you set up the meeting with the healthcare insurers just yet? And what are you hoping to get? How
I'll
are
be
you hoping
setting
to
it up.
lower
I think we're
costs?
going to meet with the healthcare insurers, the insurance companies. So what I'm asking for in healthcare is very simple. Obamacare is a disaster. I call it the Unaffordable Care Act. Unaffordable as opposed to, if it's unaffordable, they're going to have a tremendous increase in premiums, which is Obamacare, which is them, the Democrats' fault. They'll try and blame Republicans. It has nothing to do with us. It's the Democrats' fault. What I want to do is we spend hundreds of billions of dollars a year that go to insurance companies. I want that money to go to the people and let the people buy their own health care. And everybody loves it. It's become our issue. Now, before I do that, I'll meet with the insurance companies, just as I met with the drug companies. As you know, we're meeting with 4 other drug companies, Johnson & Johnson. But they've all agreed. We're meeting with them this week. It's coming up. It'll be a similar meeting. They've all agreed. But nobody would have thought the drug companies were going to do what they did, where they're giving away free drugs. They've been so great. Okay? And we have most favored nations. Nobody thought that was possible. I don't think any other president ever tried to get it because they never thought they could. But with respect to the insurance companies, I want to meet. There's essentially 14 of them, 10 big, but there's a total of 14 pretty much, pretty big. And I want to meet with them and I want to say, I want you to cut your rates way down, way down. And maybe if they do that, we'll be able to not cut them out. We'll be able to continue to deal with them, which is probably a little easier process. I think the best process is pay the money directly to the people, let them buy their own health care. But I'm going to meet with them the first week back. I do it now, but they're trying to come up with a schedule. They want to meet badly. They've told me, but they want to come up with a schedule. I said, make it a good schedule. Your rates have to come way down. We're also going to meet with other insurance companies because under Biden, the insurance rates have gone through the roof. Auto insurance, home insurance. I mean, insurance companies are making far more than they're entitled to make. So we're going to be doing that. But just in the meantime, we'll be meeting with the insurance companies in the first week, the first few days back in Washington, because they're trying to come up with a proposal that will satisfy me. Thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate it. I hope you're going to enjoy the battleships. They're going to be beautiful. Thank you. And have a great Christmas if I don't speak to you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Merry Christmas. Well, there you go.
President Trump with Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, and Secretary of the Navy John Phelan. The Trump class is USS Defiant, this new group of warships made of steel. So the American steel industry really booming back and coming back at the 6 o'clock hour on the East Coast, 3 o'clock on the West Coast, as a deterrent really to, and not only China, as President Trump was asked that question, but really to the entire world. Peace through strength. The MAGA.
Well, guys, I guess I'm going to give my opinion on what I think about us going back to shipbuilding. Well, my first thing is like we need to upgrade our military, especially when it comes to Navy. I mean, the last Navy ship ever built was in 1994. You know, that's just regular boat on top of the sea. We're not counting submarines. So it makes sense why you would want to do this. Not only that, it's going to create more jobs in the United States, especially with the steel industry in the United States. Also chip manufacturing, because you're going to need chips for it, and so on and so forth. The only thing I didn't like, what I heard there, was they're planning on using AI on it. And I was like, no. I'd rather it be controlled by an individual. You know, they can actually discern what's happening and what's the best course of action, especially someone with combat experience. I'd rather not use AI. That's just my opinion. And also, I find it interesting. He actually tells that, you know, they're going to, what kind of weapons they're going to have on it. And one of the weapons I was interested in when I heard was lasers. And I was like, man, now they're admitting that they have lasers. You know, for the longest time, there's been like a lot of, I guess, counter information that supposedly we didn't have lasers to harm people and so on and so forth. Well, if you're putting them on a ship like this as a weapon, then obviously it can hurt someone. So, as you can see, there's the information about that stuff is starting to come out. But I actually think this was a good press conference. It got a lot of good information. I also am happy that he's meeting with these insurance companies and so on and so forth to actually try to lower the insurance price when it comes to medical insurance. Also, he needs to get with the car industry too, because the car insurances went up like crazy too, and everything else. And hopefully they can lower that stuff for the American people, because that's causing a lot of the inflation woes for them as well. But guys, we're going to go ahead and end the show. We really appreciate you guys checking us out. Please hit that like button, comment, and share this out to everybody. And go ahead and check us out on our other channel. Me and Romeo's on another channel called American Patriots. Go check us out over there. All right, peace.